Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mark with Limo Marketer. I'm joined here by Gregg Fox with Corporate Sedan Service, based out of Philadelphia. Thanks for doing this, Greg.
My pleasure, Mark. How are
Awesome. Greg and I, when did we start working together, Greg? It's been a while now. Has it been over a year?
you? A little over a year. I believe we started June of last year. Late June.
Okay.
July was the first full month.
Okay, cool. And so, what were you doing prior to when we started working together in terms of like marketing? Were you doing SEO, PPC, anything like that?
The main thing I was doing was SEO, which I always felt that we were very successful with that. Um, we were stronger in some areas than others. My SEO was strong for JFK and Newark, where I felt, we were always making a greater effort in Philadelphia, perhaps because of the competition. But but we were doing very well with JFK and Newark searches and forms that were submitted on the website. I dabbled in pay-per-click. I didn't really feel like I ever found the right fit for a company running it. I would get a lot of strange calls that were somewhat related to transportation, but a lot of rent-a-car calls, a lot of taxi calls, some limo calls, but one company, they just couldn't get it right. We were getting everything from Uber to Hertz to, anything but chauffeur transportation. Um, and so that was a failed experiment with that company. And then I tried pay-per-click with another company. We experienced better results, but nothing, I just didn't feel that it justified the spend.
Yeah.
And they were not focused on the industry. So, I had to do a little more work with them, and, which took some time. And again, the results were not, outstanding. And then I saw your video about, I believe, a gentleman in Boston.
Yeah.
You did a study, and, it just seemed to make sense. And I've heard your name through Bill Faith. I think you guys did something together, a podcast around the same, or a video around the same time. So, I follow Bill closely. I think, he knows the industry very well. So then I saw your video. I was like, what do I have to lose? Contacted you. I saw immediate results right away. The campaign was focused. The calls were, my product, what I offer.
Well, which, by the way, I'm sorry, I should have asked that question first. What is that product? You don't really do stretch limos or party buses, right?
No, I'm not in the retail end at all. Pretty much, I'm, prior to COVID, it was all corporate travel, sedans, SUVs. Obviously we have clients. I've been in business for 20 some odd years, so.
Oh wow, okay.
Clients do still call. And, obviously, I'll farm it out. I work very closely with, I have friendly competitors in the market.
Yep.
So it's not like I turn away buses or, motor coaches or anything like that. I'm very good friends with Park Avenue and some other players in the area. So, so we work well closely together. And, but my website's focused towards corporate travel, airport transportation.
Okay.
I don't do any kind of marketing for weddings or anything like that. So any kind of wedding that I do is certainly by default, or perhaps a referral from a past client. I did dabble in luxury for many years, but I never got into minis or motor coaches.
Yeah.
It always seemed like
probably a good thing.
Well, that's what my friends, I didn't know whether my friends were just trying to keep me away as a competitor, or they were actually looking out for me and telling me that I don't need the aggravation. So I went with that I don't need the aggravation, and I'll just give it to them.
Yeah.
So,
well, because also lately with COVID, it's, the big buses anyways, it's been a little tougher for them.
Yeah, I feel for everybody, especially coming in off the show. I know number of people that just made some purchases, and, 2 weeks later, we're dead in the water. So it's really heartbreaking for the industry.
Yeah. Which, by the way, today, just to give everyone watching reference, is September 2nd. So we're like almost 6 months into this, right?
Yeah.
Like 5.5 months, I believe. But you were saying, so the companies you worked with before, they weren't focused on the industry. So obviously there's a lot you actually need to know just in terms of what people are searching. You know, someone's searching for limo service, they could be searching for a black car service, but they also might be searching for a stretch limo, right?
Right.
And a lot of, you know, marketing agents, I didn't even know that, you know, 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't really know the distinction between the two. And you know, Hertz rental car calls, you know, it's very important to get those keywords right, because if you don't, then you're going to get all that junk. And so pretty much
Yeah.
out of the gate, it was performed pretty decently.
You guys performed pretty decently. And the first company, like I said, I was getting calls for everything but what we did. You know, it's like, you know, rental cars, Uber complaints. I mean, anything, you know,
Yeah,
anything but what I really truly did. And unfortunately, at all kinds of hours of the day and night, because, you know, I answer my phone 24/7.
sure.
Uh, Obviously, even prior to COVID, I mean, I was my own overnight shift, et cetera. So, you know, I'd get a call at 5 o'clock in the morning, you know, wondering, you know, about airport parking at Philadelphia International. You know, just
Yeah,
wasn't, you know, anything that related to me. So, which was a disappointment. And then, like I said, then I went with a company, a national company that took a shot at it.
yeah,
And, you know, we got some results. It was a little less chaotic than the first go through. And
yeah,
then I met you. And you know, we still get some strange calls, but
yeah,
not nearly as many. And most of the ones I get at least are car service, but you know, maybe closer to Pittsburgh, you know, because maybe they're putting
yeah,
in Pennsylvania. So it's, you know, things like that. And you know, or Timbuktu, PA, that you know, places I've never heard of.
yeah,
But overall, our work together, I would view as successful.
yeah, definitely. And so, you know, being 5.5 months into this, like, has business started coming back? I know in April and May it was just like really bad.
April and May were pretty much 0 months. I mean, I have a pretty large database of clients. So, you know, snowbirds that were stuck, you know, whether it be Florida or Arizona, we're
Yeah.
getting, you know, those folks trying to get home. So that kept us going a little bit. Uh, my corporate work has been pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
Uh, I have, you know, talked to a corporate client this week that booked some stuff in other markets. It's funny, most of the corporate work that I've done have been in outside markets.
Really
Yeah.
interesting.
So they're calling me looking for cars in Denver. Actually, I think both clients I'm thinking of, it's been Denver. I don't know what's going
Oh,
on there because they're not
interesting.
related clients, but yeah. So, uh, but not really in the Philadelphia market. I do work for Temple University, and they booked a couple jobs, but then since canceled them. So,
Yeah.
you know, nothing really. I have a couple medical contracts that are still performing,
Oh, okay. Nice.
uh, and that's obviously the market I'm kind of going after outside of the pay-per-click.
Yeah.
And the pay-per-click has gotten me some good hourly work, some good long distance transfers. I've gotten a number of trips to Boston, which
Really?
you know,
How far is that? 4 hours? That's a pretty long trip.
closer to 5 one way.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Um, but you know, prior to COVID, I wasn't, you know, I could think of one trip that I did, you know, but this since COVID, I think we've done four four or five trips to Boston.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Um, and they've all come through, you know, they're not regular customers, they're all new customers. And you're the
Yeah.
only campaign I'm running. I had a decent campaign going with Yelp prior to
Uh-huh.
COVID, um, which, you know, I had a decent spend there, and they produced some good leads that we closed on. And I always had the SEO thing going on. My SEO company is a friend of mine in Florida, so you know he's always taking good care of me. And
Yeah.
he was in the business, actually got me in the business in 1988. His father owned an airport shuttle slash limousine company. That's how I got involved with this whole thing. So he knows
Really?
the business. So being an
Yeah.
SEO and having knowledge of transportation, it's a good fit.
Yeah.
Um, So, and so the SEO, he still does some work for me, not as much because I don't want anybody working for free. And I had to
Yeah.
cut my spend, when COVID hit. And you're the only thing I really kept going. And you were obviously gracious, the first 3 or 4 months, with your fees, which was very helpful. And we were able to, still generate some new business because, existing clients, I know they're going to call me. We have great relationship.
Yeah.
But, if they're not moving, they're not calling,
Exactly.
if they have no place to go, they have no, they're not calling me. And so,
Yeah. So earlier, before we hopped on this call, you were discussing that kind of a lot of the jobs that people are calling to inquire about, new prospective clients, that's kind of changed since COVID hit, right?
yeah, what I noticed with what we do together is prior to COVID, we were getting a lot of rate requests for trips that were 3, 4 months out, even further, 6 months out. I can recall seeing a lot of requests for December, in January, and
Oh, wow. Okay.
thinking to myself, wow, this person really plans in advance,
Yeah.
So, and then when COVID hit, it's everything's for the next day, 2 days out. If it's 2 weeks, it's very rare that I'm seeing a rate
Really?
request for even 2 weeks out. It's like the furthest out is a week. And like I said, most of them are for next day. Not a lot of same day, I'm glad to report, because it's harder to react on the same day stuff,
Yeah.
with light volume. But
Sure.
next day, and I find they're easier to close because they're obviously ready to buy.
Yeah.
They know time's running out. They have this thing coming up tomorrow, whether it's a doctor's appointment, whether it's taking their kid to college, whether it's an airport run.
Yeah.
Time's running out. They get a very quick text response from me, and we usually wrap it up. It's a fast close,
Yeah.
and so that has been a very noticeable difference since COVID for me.
Okay. Okay. And what are things like in your market right now? Are they starting to open back up? What stage are you guys in? Or
Well, I'm in a Bucks County, which is outside of Philadelphia, which is
okay.
pretty much open. Philadelphia is still restricted. I
Yeah.
believe dine-in is starting in September 8th next week, I believe.
Okay. Finally.
Um, some hotels are still shut down,
Yeah.
so I don't think that everything is opened up. The universities, I think Temple was open, but now they're going all online because there was a spike. So
Oh,
I'm
got it.
sure, U of P and Drexel will probably follow suit.
Yeah.
Um, and other than that, like I said, my corporate work is I haven't heard from a corporate client. My affiliate work, is pretty much next to nothing.
Yeah.
So, everything is just like I said. If an existing client that needs to get somewhere, or somebody coming through the pay-per-click campaign that needs something, on short notice, and they're finally pulling the trigger.
So what percentage did your corporate work and affiliate work make up of your business prior to COVID?
Prior to COVID, I would put my affiliate work at probably a good 40%,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and my corporate work was 95%. Of my
Okay.
business.
Wow. That's
Retail things
crazy.
people would do with SUVs, and like I said, the farming out, the minibuses, because when I was running the Yelp ads, I believe there was there was more reference to retail service in the Yelp ads,
Yeah.
because I did that a while ago, and we just we didn't spend a lot of time redoing anything. My website is all basically corporate and airport transportation, not a lot of retail. But people just, I always felt they might be looking for something. They're not looking too deep. You come up second or third on a search engine. They
Yeah.
call. I had a very experienced staff working for me prior to COVID, and they knew how to turn it into a customer. You
Yeah.
weren't saying, "Oh, we don't have minibuses." Click. We would You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
we would do the work and get the jobs,
Sure.
and but so we like I always call it retail by default because I'm not out there, hawking luxury work at all.
Yeah. So then pretty much retail's making up the bulk of your work right now, right? You can no
Yeah, I would
affiliate, no
consider them
corporate.
retail because yeah, I mean I did since COVID come up with one client who's a repeat corporate guy, one guy, chief of staff at a nearby hospital.
Yeah.
Um, so his 3 month value is great. He's going in and out at least once a week, if not twice a week.
Oh, nice. Did you get that from the pay-per-click campaign?
Got that from the pay per click. Definitely, right at the beginning of COVID.
Oh man, that must have helped quite a bit
Yeah,
then.
and another couple repeat clients. Like one guy, I think he must still have a house in Phoenix. So he's like once a month, but he came through the campaign. So
Yeah.
uh, and then and hopefully everybody that has used me through the campaign, they're going to remember me. I'm going to that they got great service, and we'll reach back to them accordingly in our general marketing plans,
Yeah.
and it's hopefully it's gravy from there.
Nice. Yeah. So, there's so much doom and gloom online, which don't get me wrong, there's, the corporate work's gone. And obviously, I guess affiliate work's gone because that was probably mostly corporate, right?
Exactly.
And so, but there is still, there is still work out there, but, if you can't be found, you're not going to get it. And
Exactly.
so, okay. So what would you say to anyone, considering, marketing right now? Again, it's September 2nd. Considering a pay-per-click campaign with Limo Marketer, what would you say to them?
Well, first of all, I think if there's a time of year, I mean, listen, it's not going to be anything to what we are or we're used to. Um, but I think some business will begin to come back. And it's like you said, if you're not out there, nobody's going to find you. So
Yeah.
I think it's not, you can't rely on your database of clients. I mean, if you're a good service provider, they're going to call you when they need you. But with regards to people that are coming to, let's say, Philadelphia that haven't been here before, and they're going to do a Google search, um, they're going to find you, and they don't want to do a lot of work to find a transportation company. They see a nice ad, they got a nice voice over the phone that answers right away, that's knowledgeable,
Yep.
friendly, delivers, a all-in rate that's nice and clear that they understand that, um, and they're going to book. It's not rocket science. I've said it for years. Um, but I do believe that you know what you're doing, which uh, takes a lot of the guesswork out of finding a vendor that does what you do. It's obvious you specialize in this. You got a good grip on it, and you produce results. It just produces results. The leads come in. What happens from there is up to the operator.
Yeah.
Basically. And I think operators are hungry enough. Like there's probably enough of us answering our own phones right now,
Yeah.
where nobody's going to sell it better than the owner.
No, that's
And like I said, I had a great staff. I had guys, who were in the business for years who really knew what they were doing. I was blessed in that way. Um, but now it's just me. I mean,
yeah.
I anticipate it's going to be just me for a while.
Yeah.
Um, and like I said, leads come in, and nobody's better than the owner. I'm sure every owner would agree. So um, I can't speak to what's happening on the retail market, but if you got that big ticket item, I think this is a great way to close the deal. And
Yeah.
like we've discussed on several of our conversations, nobody's advertising. Everybody's a little gun shy, and understandably so.
Yeah.
But if you're going to roll the dice on anything, roll the dice on this. I mean, Mark definitely knows what he's doing. Roll the dice, and you're the one who kind of makes it pay for itself or not pay for itself.
That's exactly it. Yeah. I mean, there's campaigns, I lose clients, but typically I found if they've got their sales on point, then I rarely ever lose anyone,
Yeah.
because you were telling me, you even know, before we got on this call, he said, it looks like we closed at 31% or something in the past month. And so, you're tracking that stuff. And like you said, the owner's always going to be the best salesperson,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
So,
I mean, this is certainly not costing me any money. It's making me some money. You
yeah,
know, it's helping. And like I said, if I was strictly relying on my database of existing clients, I don't think we'd be having this conversation. I don't know if I'd still be around.
yeah.
And not because I haven't provided, excellent service in the past, but just because, it's a limited market.
No, exactly. It's gonna take some time to come back, but I know it will. And so, anyways, Greg, I won't take up any more of your time. Thanks so much for doing this call with me.
No problem, Mark. Thanks for everything you do for us. Appreciate it.
No problem, man.